let's open meeting 6:34. Tonight, we're going to review our meeting minutes and the monthly vouchers and financial report. We'll go over the highlights of the director's report, which includes the pay rates that we have to vote on at this meeting. I'm not sure we're going to be able to settle Staff Appreciation Day unless we pick a date independent of the training day. That it doesn't sound like it's going to happen. So we'll have to figure that out. And I just have a couple quick things from the Friends of the Library. Anything else that anyone wants to add? Okay. All right. The meeting minutes. Does anybody have any feedback for Charlotte?
I motion to accept the meeting minutes. That's Maureen.
Okay. And someone want a second?
Second, Lauren.
Lauren, sorry. I'm assuming Alicia's with us. I can't.
I'm here. Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry, my kids are just being really loud.
No, it's fine. I just want to make sure that you were here. Okay. All right. Any other discussion on the minutes? Okay. Let's take a vote. Lauren.
Aye.
Maureen.
Aye.
Lori. Is Lori here? No, she's out, right? Judith.
Aye, even though I wasn't here. Wasn't present.
It's okay. Alicia.
Aye.
Charlotte.
Aye.
And I'm an aye. Okay. And the vouchers. Does anybody have any questions for Matthew on the vouchers? Okay, if not, does someone want to make a motion on the vouchers?
I make a motion we accept the vouchers as written. Alicia?
Thank you, Alicia.
Second, Judith.
Thank you, Judith. Any other discussion? Do you need them signed, Matthew, I assume, this week?
Yes, if possible. Yep.
Okay, so I'll see if Lori can do it. If she can't, I can do it this week.
I can also do it too.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Take a vote. Lauren,
Aye.
Maureen,
Aye.
Judith,
Aye.
Alicia,
Aye.
Charlotte,
Aye.
and I am an aye. All right. We're speeding along to the financial report. I have it somewhere. Okay. So we're getting down to the end of the year. Is there anything you want to highlight for us? I'm assuming you're going to be moving some money around. We've been talking about that the last couple of months.
Yeah, so some of the vouchers this month I paid from the revolving fund. I don't know if you noticed the different account number on there, but I am starting to spend down the revolving account. We're behind on library materials. We've actually got we need to spend $19,000 more on materials in the next 2 months. So Leanne and Michaela and I are talking about that. We're usually in this case where the last couple months we've got to buy some extra things and catch up. But the funding from that will largely come from the municipal equality grants, as the expense account will go to zero. We'll spend down the revolving account a bit, and then the municipal equality grants will cover the rest. Trying to keep materials, processing, and office supplies to a minimum, but as things run out, we have to buy them. Again, we're starting to use now the revolving fund income to cover what the operating budget doesn't. So I'm not concerned about any of the deficits there. It's more just it just shows how much prices on things have gone up, that
Right.
those accounts are not covering what they used to.
And you can't use library material, that line item, for office supplies. It has to be like books and CDs, audio. Okay.
Correct. So that's
Okay.
not so much, that's not a requirement of, if it was the town's budget,
Right.
we could move things around, but we do have one of our certification requirements is we have to spend, it's for our library, it's 19% of our total budget has to be spent on
Mhm.
materials. And they
Okay.
have pretty strict categories on what basically materials are anything that a member of the public can use. So, all the library of things, board games,
Right.
even equipment that we buy, if we buy a printer that's for the public to use, it can count. But
Okay.
anything that's purely for staff can't be paid,
Okay.
can't count for that.
Okay. Anybody have any questions for Matthew on the financial report?
I have one question about materials, and that is we do have a 3D printer for use, right?
No, we do not have a 3D printer.
Is that something you'd consider buying?
I have never wanted one for Upton. It was very trendy for a while, and now what I mostly hear from libraries is that they break easily, they take a lot of maintenance, and they
Do take a
tend
lot of
to,
maintenance.
the stuff they're getting used for tends to be more sort of entertainment kind of hobby stuff, and they're not actually getting used to,
Educational, yeah.
design the great new invention of the future. It's and we're
Okay.
very small, so we've never seriously considered a 3D printer.
And the material that you have to use to make things is expensive and runs out quickly, I think.
Yeah, true. And it
Okay.
is a lot of maintenance.
Okay. Any other questions for Matthew? I want to make a motion on the financial report to approve it.
I move that we accept the financial report as written. That's Maureen.
Okay.
Second, Judith.
Thank you, Judith and Maureen.
Yeah, yay, yes.
Okay. Any other discussion on it? Pretty straightforward. Lauren, let's vote.
Aye. Aye.
Thank you. Thank you. Maureen,
Aye. Oh, that's what I said.
Lori, I see you're back.
Yeah, I'm sorry, my computer battery went and I had to,
That's
I
okay.
thought I had plugged it in, but it wasn't plugged in all the way into the wall, so sorry.
Mhm.
Aye.
Thank you. Okay. Judith,
Aye.
Alicia,
Aye.
Charlotte,
Aye.
and I'm an I as well. Okay. On to the director's report. We are moving quickly.
Yeah, let me go through some of the stats and stuff. I'll take any questions on that, and then we'll talk about some of the discussion items.
Mhm.
Circulation is fine. We're up 5% from last year, which it's good, but it's not like super amazing. We did set another new record for e-audiobooks on Libby. Our previous record was last month, and last month I said, well, 1 month could just be a blip. Well, now we're 2 months, so maybe it's turning into a
Oh.
trend.
Mhm.
We set a new record for number of great room usage. You've heard me talk about how much, how many groups are interested in using that space. So we're starting to see that in the numbers. I highlighted the library visits because that's a very important number to me. I think that's a really good measure of how busy we are. We actually set a new record for that. We were up 27 from last month and about 8 more than our previous record. So that was nice. May has looked a little lower. We actually had a really low Saturday. That rainy last Saturday was super low. So I don't expect that to continue, but I do like to see that number going up. I did highlight one of the preschool story time. I highlighted that in green because we had been seeing the maximum capacity for that program is 16. We had been seeing it start to get down to 8 or 9, not full. And Leanne and Amelia worked together and did some special additional advertising for that. And this month we're right back up. 14 is basically full. That's 16 signed up and then a couple no shows. But that was it's rare that we can sort of draw a direct line from, hey, we put something on social media and
Right.
we immediately saw an increase. So it was nice to see. I flagged that. Everything else is pretty standard, the same sort of numbers we've been seeing. We've got a couple of the monthly programs, the Tween Book Group and the Magic the Gathering group, have been seeing low or zero attendance. Leanne and I are probably going to do something different with those. Tween book group is probably going to become more of a share what you're reading instead of everyone tries to read the same book.
Mhm.
Magic the Gathering will probably go to like a less frequent, instead of just like a drop-in thing, it'll be like a learn to play event. We'll try that a little bit. Rainbow Readers, so that's a new group that Michaela and Leanne are working on. It's a book discussion group specifically on LGBTQ topics and themes to the book, and they're doing it for different ages. We thought that was a when you're inviting those sorts of discussions, it's important to have everyone at the same sort of maturity and social level. So they're doing like a middle school version, a high school version, and an adult version. We've done 2 sessions. The middle school and the high school version have gotten 0 attendance. The next one coming up in May is the adult one. So if we get 0 at the adult one, it's maybe a sign that this is not a topic people want to discuss at the library. I think we
Right.
committed to basically a year's worth of this. And then so that's through calendar 26. So until December. And then obviously we'll reevaluate if we want to keep doing it. Any questions on statistics or events or anything before I go on?
What about the crafting and the gaming clubs?
Yeah, so we did get low attendance. Was it zeros this month or was it ones and twos? It was zeros this month. So last month we had, 10 or 12 at crafting and 4 or 5 at gaming. So those have really been up and down. Unlike, something like Magic the Gathering where it's been, 0 or 1 for the last 5 months. So we're planning on continuing crafting and gaming again, at least through December. See if we can build that audience up. But that's why I put that note, because last month we saw really good attendance and we thought, great, we're getting the word out. This month we had zeros. So it could just be something else was happening that day. One particular group of kids decided to do something else. I don't know, but we're not, that one's not in the reconsider the whole program category yet. All right, well, I will go on to jumping down now to community center update. Nothing really related to the building there. I just did want to, I know we've talked a lot about room use policies and the great room and how that involves the whole town. So no real update here, just to say that the town manager is reviewing those. Any changes would go through the select board. She did ask me for my feedback, so I sent her, about a page or so of notes from my perspective. And if we do get any chance to provide input, I will certainly let you know.
Becky, who provides the first aid supplies?
Oh, we
Is that-
do. So it's basically Band-Aids and ice packs, and our ice packs are not the chemical ones. We literally just take a handful of ice cubes and put them in a Ziploc bag. So it's basically, I'm buying Ziploc bags and I'm buying Band-Aids. It's not a big expense. It's
Okay,
just,
okay.
so yes, it's not like a financial expense. It's just more of a liability concern, and we don't want to see people get hurt, and we don't want to see, we can't give medical advice.
So if somebody were to tumble down, God forbid, and hit their head, so somebody, I assume, would call 911. If somebody on the playground doesn't, they might come into the library and call for help.
Yeah. So,
Okay.
what the extent of our medical, first aid is we will hand you a
Yeah.
Band-Aid, we'll hand you an ice pack. Interestingly, when I started discussing this, so I was at the department heads meeting with, the fire chief was there, the police chief, the rec committee. So if we give you a Band-Aid, that's okay. But if we put a Band-Aid on you, that is treatment, and we can't do that. So, I pass this on to staff that,
Oh.
almost always there's a parent there, and it's just, they need to it's more of a calming the child down than it is a
Yeah.
actual medical care. Anything more serious than that, if we thought there was a chance someone would need stitches or there could be any chance of a concussion, you know, when someone says, oh, they hit their head, that makes us really nervous. So that's where, if there's a parent, of course, we encourage the parent to call 911. A lot of times they don't want to.
Yeah.
We've only had, I can think of 2 instances where we had a minor who was under 18 but didn't have a parent. Basically, a teenager who was injured enough that we kind of thought they'd need some medical care and there wasn't a parent there to help. In one case, I think we did call, and in one case, the child chose to leave or get picked up on his own. Though
Okay.
the senior center has some different rules. I mean, their population, I think they pretty much
Different.
anyone falls down, they call 911 just because you
Oh.
know bones could be more brittle,
Right.
head injuries
Oh,
are more
yeah.
dangerous, that sort of thing.
For sure.
In our case, most of the time there's a parent, and most of the time the parent says, I'll handle it. All right. So does the great room use thing make sense? I know there was at least one trustee that wanted to discuss that a little bit. There's no change yet, but it's sort of the ball is with the town manager. She's the one who has to initiate that process or propose some changes.
Actually, that was me, Matthew, and I thought we had talked about it last time, saying we were going to follow up this time. So that was my misunderstanding.
Are you saying that if you felt that there need to be changes, you can't initiate the conversation? Only she can?
I could initiate a conversation. I don't think I could propose. Not my place to write a draft policy or something like, the town manager goes to the board of selectmen with that. So I could call Kristen and say, hey, this is a problem. This isn't working. Here's what I think we
Okay.
should do to fix it. But I can't be the one who leads the process of revising the policy.
No, just as long as you can say, because she's not going to see anything and you will. So, I mean, she'll see applications, but it's different when you're across the way and when you're in the building, for sure.
Mhm.
So I'm sure she'll take into account what you might consider important.
Yeah.
Okay.
And like I said, she had asked me for feedback, and I wrote basically a 1.5-page memo or so saying, hey, these are all the things I've seen. This is what I would recommend. One of the big changes I recommended is, honestly, I would not allow private parties. I know that was something that a couple of select board members at the time really wanted, but I feel like I think we're not, the benefit for how much work goes into it is probably not there, but that's kind of a big policy level decision.
Okay.
All right, let me jump back to my report here.
Revolving fund?
Revolving fund, yes.
Good.
So I've mentioned this problem a couple times. Our revolving fund limit is $6,000, and I'm pretty sure we're going to exceed that income this year. And I wasn't really sure what to do about it. I talked to the finance director, and we looked at it, and the new wording, new as in last 5 years or so, the new wording on the revolving funds only discusses an expenditure limit. So the $6,000 is a limit on expenditures. There is no limit on income, or there used to be like your balance can never exceed this amount. So that's good news for us, which means we can go ahead and we don't have to give up on any money or anything. We can
Right.
deposit it all in the revolving fund and then expend it next fiscal year when the limit goes up. So I will try to expend quite a bit before the end of the fiscal year. But that's good. So we that problem is not an issue anymore.
Can that excess can't be moved anywhere else, right? It has to stay in the revolving fund?
Yes, and there's the revolving fund authorizes certain things you can spend it on, which for us is pretty much anything other than salaries. We can buy materials, we can buy programming, anything that was
Office
used
supplies?
well, so the
No?
way it's worded is supplies that were used during a program. So I've been buying
okay.
like the paper
Yeah.
for the public photocopier,
Right.
pens for the office, maybe not, but everything's, if I pay for
Yeah.
one thing from the revolving fund, it just frees up some other money somewhere
Right.
else.
Okay.
So that's good. That really helps us a lot with our budget. Wowberry, just a note here that I don't know if you all get Wowberry and you look at it, but the last couple weeks you may have seen there's a new list of events. That's a new feature Wowberry added. All we had to do was it like directly pulls those from Assabit. We don't have to enter those, so that was really nice. But we are finding we were hoping to sort of make Wowberry our version of a newsletter. It's not really doing what we wanted to. We haven't seen a lot of people signing up, but that is showing up on the strategic plan. That's one of the things that really leaped out was people are interested in an weekly email newsletter. Amelia and I are doing the beginning steps of doing, because we're assuming that's going to be a goal in the strategic plan. So we're setting up to be ready to do that as fast as we can. Probably through Constant Contact. That's of the ones we looked at, that seems to be the best service that does this. So we're starting the legwork for that. Staff training day, as Debbie mentioned, it doesn't look like I'm going to be able to schedule a full or half day in-person training with the full staff. It worked out so well last year. I think we just got lucky, or I've let it wait too late in the year, and now it's once we get into June. I was looking at a Monday, and Leanne emailed me back and said, "Wait a minute, we've got a children's program on every Monday in June," and a lot of these staff the part-time staff have other commitments, other professions. They have other jobs basically. So it's really hard for them to, call out to their other job to come in for a training for this job. So I'm doing a few things. I've circulated some webinars. There was some interesting stuff that came through the MBLC. And the other thing I've done, which I'm really happy with. I don't know how the rest of the staff feel, but for this is probably 4 weeks or so, I got this idea from the Grafton Library director. She does basically it's a weekly email newsletter, but it's just for staff. And it's just, oh, here's a problem someone else had that you might, now that we're big enough that I don't, I used to be able to just word of mouth when we only had 4 people. Now we've got 8. So, but it's not the same as an in-person training, but I think it's hitting the same things as keeping all the staff consistent and up to date on procedures and things that are going on in town, or things that are happening with the library. So I've been happy with that.
Can you, in the future, when the staff take these webinars or individual trainings, could you put that, Michaela attended X, Leanne attended X, so that we know what actually what classes they're going through, even if they're online webinars, just anything that they go through, so that we have an idea of what's going on.
Yeah, I can. Leanne actually does quite a few of them. I mean, children's services
Sure.
probably changes more than any of the other aspects of librarianship, but and she's really good. She'll always print out this certificate, and I stick it in her personnel file. So yeah, I can definitely make a note of keeping you guys informed when that stuff happens.
The more generic train. I assume some of these online webinars or whatever are more generic. I know Leanne's doing children's stuff, but are there some topics that are staff-wide?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Those are the ones I'm talking about. Yeah. Okay.
Yep. All right, strategic plan survey. We have gotten 919 responses, all entered. Actually, they're still trickling in. I just got another 4 or 5 from the town clerk that haven't been entered, but 919 is great. That is an awesome response rate for something like this. So they've all been entered. I haven't so I've sort of glanced through the results and sort of cherry picked the things that really stand out. I haven't done a thorough in-depth review. I did try to share some of those charts with you. They don't display great because basically there's so many bars on the bar graph, it doesn't label them all. And if you're on the website and you hover over it, you can see what the hidden ones are. But when you print them out, obviously you can't do that. And I tried to figure out how to make that shareable because it's on it's Google, so I figured you could share the results. Couldn't figure out how to do that other than just downloading them. But I did give you a quick glance. There were 100, I think 188 comments. That section at the end where we said provide any feedback. So those I can share. They're really valuable. There were a few people that signed their name to them, so I do want to redact the names before I make them public, just for people's privacy. Most of them positive. There were a few, there, and I had some staff come to me kind of upset because, oh, I just read this on the forum and, it just made me feel horrible. There's always a percentage, no matter how good your service is, there's going to be 1 or 2% of people that just don't like it. They had a bad experience once and,
Right.
So some of those, comments, when you're seeing 10 good comments for 1 negative one, it kind of tells you where you are. And some of them were actually, we got some really good suggestions, I think, that we can take action on. One in particular, we do have at least a couple deaf patrons that I know of, and one of them took the time to write, a really good description of some of the challenges they face. And I think that'll be, that will help us when we have to justify using budget money to have sign language interpreters available and that sort of thing. So overall, I've been happy, but I do want to, the next step is to sort of get the data in a readable presentation, and then we can actually, I guess the next step would be the trustees to discuss the data results in some detail, and then either vote on or suggest priorities that are directly related to the survey results.
Yep.
I wonder, would that be a good opportunity for an in-person meeting? Do you think that would work well, or you think it's better this way?
Well, our June meeting is in person. I'm not sure if it can be done by then,
Oh.
but whatever meeting it is after the data is ready for us, we can have an in-person meeting.
Yeah, I can definitely make it a deadline to have at least this data in a reviewable. I won't have the whole strategic plan obviously written, but at least this data in a discussable format. If you want to make that an agenda item, Debbie, that may mean a little less gets done on the policy manual, but I can prioritize the data analysis for this more. The strategic plan, sorry.
Okay.
All right. Study rooms. So we made that change. This is not the great room. This is specifically the study rooms. We made that change to our procedures last meeting. And it's gone super smooth. I was expecting to hear at least some feedback that, hey, we didn't used to have a library card and now we have to, or I have not heard any feedback from patrons, which I think is good. I mean, the goal of the change was to have it be mostly the same for the vast majority of users and only close a few loopholes that were getting exploited. So I think that has done exactly what we wanted it to, and hopefully it stays that way. Policy manual review. I have actually gotten into this and started revising policies and doing draft revisions. And I will try to have something that's worth reading over for June, but maybe if we do strategic plan stuff in June, then we do policy manual stuff in July. That'd be fine. And then employee pay rates. So this was one of our agenda items to vote on. The HR department has asked for pay rates to be voted on a little earlier. Usually we do staff evaluations in June and then vote on the pay rates in June. This time they want to have the pay rates by June 1st, and since the trustees aren't meeting again until then, we've got to do it now. But based on the budget that was approved at town meeting, the operating budget was approved with no questions, which is great. So this is pretty standard. It's giving every employee a 2% COLA increase and a 1-step merit increase, which is equivalent to 2.45% raise. So it's essentially a 4.5% raise for all employees. That's based on their hourly. We did have some people kind of shift positions, and so it's not going to look like 4.5% based on what their total appropriation was, but for their hourly rate, everyone is getting for essentially 4.5% raise. So I'm open to questions, but if you're happy with that, we can just vote to approve.
This includes the hours that we were moving around, right?
Yes,
am I
it
right? We were
includes-
moving around some hours? Okay.
Yep, two additional hours. So the children's specialist and the marketing specialist are both going from 14 hours a week to 16 hours a week. So it includes that. I will point out when it comes to my salary in particular, because I've been here the longest, the town's current scale goes up to 12 steps, and this merit raise would put me at step 11. So I'm getting, essentially I can get one more merit raise before I'm capped out. I mean, I'm okay with that. I know I'm not the only position in town in that, it's just the way it is. So when that happens, then I would continue to get COLA raises, but there wouldn't be any opportunity for merit raises. Which at first I was like, well, do I recommend myself to not get one this year? So I have a little bit. Then I thought, like, well, that's silly. I would rather have more money now than
Right.
just feel
Exactly.
sad in 3 years when I don't get a merit raise.
Right.
It always seems better.
You'll worry about that in 3 years. Yeah.
Yeah.
Matthew, how many hours do employees have to work to qualify for benefits? Do they have to do 20?
20. That's why almost all our positions are 19 hours.
Oh, sucks.
Yeah. This is getting a little ahead, but since you brought it up, I am thinking ahead to next year. And, we keep saying maybe this is a year we don't ask for more hours, but if we can justify more hours next year, I'd like to at least, I'd like to at least explore, do we take a 19-hour position and make it 30 or something like that? Or do we bring in a new body at 12 hours a week, or do we, I haven't had any of those discussions with the town. HR generally likes to, expand current employees, but there's a financial impact to that. It might be more attractive, to suddenly be able to offer someone benefits. I know we've got current employees that are working, two part-time library jobs. Maybe they'd want to have one library job, and that we could get them to only work for Upton if we offered benefits. I don't.
That'd be nice.
So that's something I want to explore. I do expect. I mean, we got basically no pushback from anyone, not from the FinCom, not from the town meeting on our budget this year, which is nice. At some point, we keep asking for more staff. Someone's going to question it. Maybe we see how the override goes. I don't know, but something to think about for next year is it time to make that jump and get another benefited position?
So Matthew, I can see, so we've got all these employees that are just below 20. How do you decide who gets more, and how does it not become a problem between them, or how does that work?
Well, we have 3 positions that are full-time benefited positions: the library director, the adult librarian, and the children's librarian. So
But they're
those,
professional positions, right?
yeah, those require an MLS. I mean, there's a distinct difference between, our full-time positions require an MLS. They have all sorts of duties. They have, budget responsibilities and collection development responsibilities. Everybody else is either an assistant or a specialist, and those are all, 19 hours. So we would have to think about, if we did create a, basically a closer to full-time, a benefited library specialist position, would there be multiple people that apply for it? Would one or the other of them, be disappointed if they didn't get the position? These are all things we'll have to think about. It's not just the money, it's the whole dynamic of the position might change.
Would it be another professional position?
No, essentially what I would be thinking of is, I probably wouldn't even call it a different job. We could call it circulation supervisor or something. I wouldn't even do that. I would just keep the same job description and just add more hours.
Mhm.
So it'd be the same job functions. You just do it more hours a day. And essentially I would justify it by, right now we have 2 people on a Saturday. Saturday is our busiest day. The easiest justification would be say, well, we need a 3rd person on Saturday. And the trade-off might be, hey, you get benefits, which is great, but you have to work every Saturday, which is not great. So maybe that's how we
Oh,
incentivize someone to sign up for working every Saturday.
And maybe they could get Mondays off.
Right.
Can I ask what percent does the town contribute to your health insurance?
Honestly, I'm on my wife's health insurance. So the
Okay.
town, interestingly, the town actually, if an employee opts out, they pay us. So the town pays me $1,500 a year to not be
Oh.
on the health insurance. For a family plan, it's through. So the other part is I did that when I was an individual. Now that I'm a family, if I was on the town's health insurance for 6 months, they would then pay me $3,000 to get back off of it because it'd be off a family plan. I think last time I really checked into it, I think the town pays 75% and the employees pay 25. It used to be 90-10, and then this was probably 10, 15 years ago. I know they went to 25-75. The town also does something where the plan, in order to keep the cost of the plan down, they made a deductible, but that the town pays the deductible. So the
Mhm.
employee essentially has a 0 deductible, but the insurance plan has like a $1,000 deductible, but the town pays it because that keeps the rate lower for the town. I know Leanne is also on. I probably shouldn't be talking about people's medical stuff here, but I think most of the library employees that are eligible actually have better options and take the payoff.
Wow.
But the town's pretty. I mean, it's Blue Cross Blue Shield. It's pretty good. All right, I feel like we've kind of wandered off from FY27 pay rates a little bit, but that was just something I had in my mind about what to do next year. But current pay rates, new pay rates starting July 1st. I sent the memo with the rates, and that's what you would vote on unless you want to discuss anything further.
All right, I'm sorry, someone want to make a motion?
I make a motion, we accept the pay rates as written.
Second, Lori?
Yay. Any other discussion on it? Okay, let's vote. Lauren,
Aye.
Maureen,
I
Lori,
Aye.
Judith,
aye.
Alicia,
Aye.
Charlotte,
Aye.
and I am an aye as well. All right.
All right, the only other thing I want to add to that discussion is I will be doing all the staff evaluations in end of May, early June. So if there is any feedback you want to send to me, stuff about the staff and services as a whole is helpful, but this is your chance. If there was any individual people, you heard your neighbor make a comment that someone was really helpful for them, or, the other side, if you hear that, oh, someone was, I had a bad experience at the library, let me know. Obviously, I'm not going to put those specific quotes in the person's evaluation, but I can, if there's a trend or something, I can point it out at this time.
Matthew,
So
are we allowed to see the performance reviews of the staff?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Mine, because I'm the director, is done in an open meeting. It becomes a public document. The
Right.
ones that I write for the staff, they may be confidential. I could find out
Okay.
from HR, but my suspicion is that those are part of their personnel file and they're not public documents.
or maybe we could come to the individually, somebody could come to the library and maybe see them. The thing is, we're evaluating some of the things we're evaluating you on are really something that Leanne is doing, or, Michaela's doing, somebody else is doing, and we don't know what goals you've given them to know whether they've achieved the goals you've set for them. And do you know what I mean? It's not directly, I don't know. That's when I'm doing your evaluation, I keep thinking, well, I don't know what he's telling them to do. So how do I know whether he's doing what he should be doing when we don't know what they're doing? So I don't know.
Well, his job is an administrator, and you're trying to evaluate how well he administrates the employees
Yeah.
working for him. So that's a valid point, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
there's
actually,
yeah.
the form that I use doesn't include the goals. So the form that I do for employees that report to me are just those numeric, judgment, initiative, technical expertise. It doesn't. The goal section is only for management level employees. So we use a very we only use a very stripped down form. I could, if I wanted to, I could do that with Leanne and Michaela. Those would be the adult librarian and the children librarian. Those would be the two positions that it would be appropriate to assign goals in that way. But it's sort of just, especially now that the last couple of years the trustees have given me kind of specific goals. Long ago, my goals used to be sort of very vague, like build a new library,
Right.
Now that so a lot of the things that are on my goals kind of trickle down, like
Right.
the Spanish collection is a good one. Like, I didn't personally evaluate the Spanish collection, but I made that a priority for Leanne and Michaela, and they took action under my management. So yeah.
Okay. So they don't really have goals. So
I haven't
there would be nothing to see. Okay.
Yeah, ever since HR, we used to have to do those. We started off doing those goals for everybody, which for the circ staff, I was like, okay, everybody gets the goal of be nice to the patrons,
Right, right.
So then they removed that to just management, and then a couple years ago, the advice from HR was to only use the numeric form except for department head level evaluations.
That's strange.
Has that changed with Sandy?
All of that was under Sandy. I think before Sandy, I don't think we even did evaluations.
Well, they're getting a merit increase, but I mean, it's just weird that I understand the part-timers no, but I would think the full-timers, they would have across the town would have, 2 or 3 goals to meet by their next review period. So that seems unusual, but okay.
Yeah, I mean, other departments may do different things. I just know that when I was told it wasn't required, we stopped doing the goal because we weren't doing them in a helpful way. It was,
right.
We sort of set vague goals and then didn't look at them again until the month before the evaluation. If you're not using them in a helpful, productive way, they kind of sort of tie into mine. If I have a goal to get something done and then I delegate it and that sort of thing. But they have enough work that it was unusual to come up with a goal that was anything other than keep mostly 90% is keep doing what you're doing, and then 10% is try something new.
Yeah, because see, personnel management, I mean, I was trying to think of what the criteria was that we actually evaluate you on. So personnel management, I mean, I guess unless we hear about complaints about a particular person or two or whatever, we're kind of doing that blind. We're like, well, we don't hear anything, so I mean,
right,
so it's hard. But
unless a staff
get it.
person, if a staff person wants to file a grievance against me, that would eventually come to your attention. Or if we had a lot of turnover, or
right,
I don't know.
Right, yeah, for sure. Okay.
But you're right. You guys definitely. The board has always felt that they didn't really have enough information to accurately evaluate the director. It's hard.
Yeah. Okay.
But if you do have anything, you did hear anything, or you had an observation about a particular staff person, send it to me privately. This is one of the few times when you can, it's not an open comment. It's just from one person to
Right.
me. Don't send it to the whole board, please.
Sounds good.
And then
Faulty.
a few faulty things. So the book sale and the quilt raffle are both happening this weekend, this Saturday. And they are the silent book group has been getting 8 to 10 people. I think they've done
Yeah,
two. They've done either 2 or 3. I think they've done 3.
2.
No, two. Yeah, 2 in April, and then the May one is coming up at the end of the month. So
Right.
they seem fairly happy with how they're going. They're fairly low expense, and if a couple people have a good time, that's a good thing.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Definitely.
And the summer reading they wanted me to just mention the summer reading program kicks off next month. And they provide the funding. Do they provide the funding for it?
A large portion of it. Most
Okay.
of the financial comes from the Friends, and Unibank gives us a large
Unibank.
financial donation. And then we get a few businesses that give us, smaller donations, prizes and things. But most of the money comes from those 2 sources. And it's about half and half, I would say, roughly half the Friends and half that Unibank.
Okay. All right. Sounds good. We got another email today from the Friends looking for volunteers. So if anybody can
Right.
volunteer on Friday or Saturday.
I'm going.
It's
All right.
such fun, especially the Friday night. They get pizza and big salad, and it's just a very joyful thing to do. And you get first dibs on the books.
Yeah.
And the collection has been fabulous the last few years, and they're saying it's really good. So come on down.
What
And the
time
quilt has been
Friday?
doing well. The
4 to
the
7,
quilt
yeah.
tickets.
I forgot about those.
It's really,
Yeah.
really fun.
They've been doing well.
And then
Okay.
it never, I would say, last time I think we're out by 6.
Well, I believe it was Friday night I offered too. If people want to go to Rushford's after, I'd buy a round.
Mhm.
Oh.
Figured.
That
I
last,
forgot. I figured I'd get Joe, but now he's not on the board because he went last year and set up Friday.
All right. So we've already done F. We counted that. Staff Appreciation Day. So I guess we're gonna have to try to figure out how to do this if there's not going to be a training day. Maybe, I don't know, Charlotte, maybe you can come up with a date or a plan on maybe what day of the week are the most people there? And we ask this
Yeah.
every year, but
I did check. Unfortunately, we do not have a day when every
Okay.
person has a shift.
right.
But, Tuesday has everybody but one person, and Wednesday has everybody but one person. So Tuesday or Wednesday would be good days. And actually, maybe Tuesday is the best because the person who doesn't work Tuesday works Wednesday. So if you brought down some treats on a Tuesday, we could certainly put them aside, and they would still mostly be good on Wednesday. I think they'd like that. I think, just I know the staff has changed. The staff dynamic now is so different than it was, 4 years ago. We kind of totally turned over the staff. So I was gonna say I don't think they'd appreciate like a party. They would just, they'd like to have
Yeah.
snacks and things brought in. But honestly, we've got a couple on the staff now that are a little more partiers, a little more extroverted. So maybe we would
Right.
have a couple that would. I could give if you want a person on staff who would be overjoyed to help you organize this, I can send you their name.
Perfect. Yeah, why don't you
know,
send
just
that
who you
so we
need.
can pick a
Yeah.
day,
Yeah.
a Tuesday, and we'll set it up. For
And
sure.
also, Matt, did you get a list of maybe some non-perishables that people were thinking about that they could like have in the snack room for a couple of days?
Oh, you know what? You did mention that, and I didn't.
Will you
I
email
did
it
not.
over? Oh,
Yeah.
whenever
I'll
you get
actually have
that.
to gather that.
Oh, that's a good idea to
I didn't
share.
go back out to staff and do that, but yeah, I know we have a few that have particular drink things that they,
Like
tea
drinks or
tea
snacks.
bags or
Yeah.
K-Pods and yeah.
Snacks that are
Right.
non-perishables that they can enjoy for a few days,
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a great idea. You
Great
mentioned that
idea.
before, and I did not gather that information, but I will.
Great idea.
I was also
Okay.
wondering on Tuesday or Wednesday, is there a day, one of those days, the person not there, possibly somebody from Upton, so they wouldn't have to drive much of a distance to stop by that day if they felt like it?
Yeah, so the person who doesn't work Tuesdays They are local, but they're also extremely busy. So,
Yeah. You know, we're just gonna do the best we can. If we can get all
Yeah.
but one person and some non-perishables that person could take advantage of on Wednesday. I mean, it's hard to pick a date. We're just gonna go with what's the best date.
Yeah.
There's no perfect date, so,
And I
Okay,
think
that
we had
sounds-
said we would do it after the summer reading program is over,
yeah,
towards the end of August.
I think
Do you
so.
still think that's good, Matthew?
oh yeah, actually, I was thinking you wanted to get this done, June or something, but that gives us more time. So we have plenty of time to organize it. So you know what? Maybe I can make that part of their staff evaluation. The last question can be what non-perishable treat would you like to have? Of course,
Yes.
then you have to wait 3 months before you actually get it. But
Do you have a coffee
Remember-
maker there?
we have
in-house?
a little K cup thing. We don't have a percolator,
Mhm.
but we do have a few people that make use of that.
Last
Do
time
you-
we took orders for everybody from Dunkin's and brought them in,
Right.
but
Very nice.
I would say, yeah, if they could
Dunkin's
list,
person.
list one snack and one drink that's non-perishable, that comes in a can or as a tea bag, and then a snack, then we could just do our best to try and, because you don't have that much of a staff that's it's
No,
crazy.
Right,
That's a great idea. I like that. Instead of just guessing and having stuff
Yeah.
go to waste.
Mhm.
That's a great
Mhm.
idea.
But we
Okay.
would still do some baked goods and
Yeah.
all the other stuff
Yeah.
too. Yeah. Okay.
okay, all right. Sounds good. So the next meeting is June 8th, and it is in person for those that can make it. Hoping most of us can make it. We will have a new trustee joining us.
Okay.
Um,
Hopefully only
Tr-
one.
Tracy, yeah, that's true. If there's a write-in that beats Charlotte or me, that's gonna be really embarrassing, but
So
we'll see.
embarrassing.
Yeah, that is true. Hopefully, we
Just
will
kidding.
have a new trustee after the election. And she should be joining us next month.
Good.
I have her email address, so we'll get her sworn in and all of that before the June meeting. Okay, anything else? Okay, let's close the meeting at 7:26, Charlotte.
Okay, great.
All righty.
Excellent. Night.
See everyone this weekend at the Bark Book
Also-
Sale.
Oh, right.
Matt,
Don't
I
forget
want
to
to show
vote.
you. I want to show Matt something before you hung up. I just want to show him Lego Town over here.
Oh, my God.
Oh, that's great.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah, that's Lego Town at our house.
That's fun. Yeah.
All right.
Good night.
All right.
Great.
Good night,
Good night,
everybody.
Everyone.
Bye-bye.